Hey Brandon. Okay, so since we don't have the G10 and we don't have the Photoshop files, I'd like for you to actually start working in the Unity file itself with a couple of things. And so it's going to be a little tricky, um, but I'm pretty much done with the Unity file. I've been working on it quite a bit over the last few weeks, but I'm pretty sure I'm done with that. And I'm going to be working on some source videos for the programmers, for Nate specifically. So I think you can feel free to work on this. And what I was thinking was we could use Skype as kind of a communication factor. So before you open up the Unity file to edit it, go ahead and check on Skype to see if I'm working on the file, and then I'll do the same with you to see if you're working on the file. So as long as we're on Skype, I believe we should be okay. So not sure if you've worked with this yet, but you have the code folder here. So open up that, assets, scenes, main, and then the one you want to go to is train C Unity. So we'll go ahead and open up that one. Okay, so I got your security building in there. It looks good. Thank you. For some reason, the seatbelt thing didn't come through, but that's okay. Because when we check it at full screen, when we're in range, you can't see it anyways, because we're way over here. Okay, so the thing I would like for you to work on in here is the cars. I put a bunch of cars in here. So you can see there's faint lines for parking spots. It looks like I made them a little bit big because the cars are done to a good scale, and I started placing them. So I'll leave it up to you if you want to keep the lines how they are, or if you want to tighten up the lines a bit too. I'll show you how that's all set up in a second. So with the cars, first off, I was thinking was to remove these, or not really remove them, but move them somewhere else. Because these are low poly cars, and I don't feel like they hold up very well when we're this close, as we will be with the machine. So I was thinking instead of putting cars in here, we can do pallets, and I'll talk about that in a second. So basically, you move these cars. That one really sunken in the ground? Yeah, some of these are a little deep in the ground. That's right. So these cars here are okay. And I started making a line of cars over here. And again, we don't have to fill all the spots, just to be mindful of how many we're putting in there. And all these guys here are like kind of like the ones that were imported, so they're not placed by any means. This is just a group of cars that I've been grabbing and moving as I go around. So the cars that I have already moved, I've already fixed their materials, but the ones that I haven't moved yet, like we'll select this one here. First thing you'll notice is they seem a little bit more gray, and that's because the diffuse color in the max file, I forgot to put them to white. So we gotta change those to white. And then you can, move it and rotate it. Nothing has to be exact. Just place them where they need to go. And a good source file to kind of see the spread of cars is that panoramic Photoshop file we have. This guy here. So this is the panoramic 150 height. In case you don't know where that is, I'm pretty sure you do, but just in case. It's going to be in the art folder under Proving Grounds. And there's a folder, source from visit, and yeah, it's the only picture in that folder for now. Okay. So as you can see, we have some cars here along the building and along that parking lot there. I wasn't really putting them in this spot here since we'll never really see that. But we got a couple of rows of cars here. And again, I wouldn't fill every spot, but just every few just to give it that impression. And then a ton of cars back in here. Yeah, so I'd like for you to populate the parking lot just to give it that general feel of, hey, there's a lot of people here. And then there's the trucks. You know, for the life of me, I could not find an affordable low poly flatbed truck. I checked the Unity library and TurboSquid and all that, but we do have other trucks. You know, so you can use these guys if you want. I'd keep trucks and cars off the road for now. So any of these guys that are actually on the road, I'll leave them off just because it gives them the sense of like there should be moving. But we're not going to have any animated cars in this project. And it's basically that parking lot. Don't worry about those. Yeah, so it's just the parking lot here. You know, throw in a couple of trucks, one or two in that dock area. You know, and maybe I don't think we have room on our road to put any of them there, but we definitely have this spot here you can do. And then, you know, if you want to put a couple of other trucks and a car too over here, that'd be cool too. So if you want to copy a car, you know, I really don't know how to do that, but let's find out if I do. If I hold down Shift, nope. That's right. If I find it here, right click, copy, and paste prefab. I don't know. Okay. So for now, we'll just do it that way, copy and paste to make more than one. Okay. So that'll fill up, you know, that whole area there. And the other thing I'd like for you to do in here is take these pallets and kind of spread them out. You know, these are fine here, but go ahead and make some copies. Put some, you know, in this area where the cars are now. You know, maybe put a pallet up here or two pallets up there. You know, just kind of scatter the scene a little bit. The only place I wouldn't put one is on this floor here because we're going to have the user fix the light and we don't want the pallet to be in the way. But yeah, the pallets and the cones and the barrels. And we got, you know, whoops, these cones here as well. Now, if you want to, you can copy some of these gates and put those gates around just to give a little bit more life to the environment. Okay, so that's the cars and pallets and cones and stuff. So when you're done moving things around, you do file save, save scene. Okay, see the asterisk go away. And then before you commit anything, and I want you to commit a lot. So like, let's say you know, do the cars, then save it and do a commit before you do the pallets. You know, that kind of thing. Okay. And I'm pretty sure I've already gone over this with you, but just in case. So Since you're going to be copying existing assets and not adding anything, you don't have to worry about svn add. But you do have to worry about the commit. Yeah, and don't delete any files either, so let's just stay away from that to keep things simple. Just going to say moved some cars around. And I'm pretty sure this should show up on yours. Basically, anytime you open Unity, it's going to change the Unistorm materials. So anything that says Unistorm should be under the ignore on commit. And then you should just see, you'll see the material change as you change those. And then this terrain C Unity file. And click OK. All right, and then the thing I wanted to go over are the things that can go wrong. Actually, let's wait for this real quick. Okay, so even though we committed, we still have the red. Well, we should have the red. I lied. Okay, so sometimes, well, usually whenever I do it, this is still red after I do a commit, and that's because of those Unistorm files that got changed. So I usually right-click every time I do a commit. Afterwards, I go to SVN revert, and I'll see that list of Unistorm files, and I'll have to select them and hit OK, and then I'll get the happy green check mark again. So that's one thing that goes wrong. If you ever hit that play button, so if you ever hit this play file, this is play button, and it says all compile errors have to be fixed prior to play mode, then you'll probably have under this console thing some red flags, and then it'll tell you something that's wrong. And 9 times out of 10 for me, it had to do with Procore. So the way to fix Procore stuff is, again, to close this up. And under assets, I would get a Procore folder, and this has happened to Jen and Adam as well. We haven't totally figured out why, but the Procore folder will not have a green check mark on it. It'll be blank. So just select that folder and delete it. You will have a Procore folder under here, under the external assets, and that's the one that we should have. But for some reason, something in here is causing another Procore folder to appear that causes problems. Okay. And if you do that and you still get the red check marks, then the thing to do is to select this library file, basically to go in here, and any file that doesn't have a check mark on it, like the library and OBJ, that's not always there, but it's there now. So, and then all these Unity VS files, go ahead and delete those. And then next time you restart Unity, it's going to take about 10 minutes for it to actually start, because it's going to rewrite all these things. And that should definitely cure any problems that you're having. And if that doesn't work, then just do a fresh checkout and just recheck out this whole code folder. So those are all the things that go wrong and how to fix them. The other big danger for Unity and how to really mess things up is if you deleted a file through SVN. So let's say I deleted this file, hit SVN delete. Or maybe not so much in there. Something more obvious would be in here. Like say we took one of the car files and like, oh, we're not using this car file, and I'll just delete the JPEG. So if I did that, that's going to cause problems as well. So if you ever do, I suggest not deleting anything for now, but if you ever do have to delete, I'd go ahead and do it in Unity itself. So let's say we took this car. So in Unity, you want to do it like this, and then you hit delete. and then you'll probably have to resave your file, close this. So the file itself and the meta file will be gone when you delete something. But the problem is when you do a commit, I don't actually do anything, but it's under status, it'll say missing. And if it says missing, it's going to cause all sorts of problems. So Nate has suggested that instead of doing svn commit, we do svn, let's see if I can get it in a place where you can see it. You want to do check for modifications. And in here, you'll see a list of things, of files that were added, deleted, modified. But the main thing is you don't want anything to say missing. If there is anything that says missing here, you want to select that file, right click it, and say delete. And that'll make Unity and SVN happy with each other. So then after you do that, then you can do your regular SVN commit. Alrighty, so that's the stuff I'd like for you to work on next. Basically the cars and the palettes and the cones and all that to kind of just populate the scene a little bit. And those are the general things we've seen go wrong with SVN and Unity, to help you avoid some of those pitfalls that we've run into. And then if you ever do run into any problems, just go ahead and let me know, and I'll do what I can. It's a little bit risky since our time differences are so vast, but I'm sure we'll make it work out. And then go ahead and once again stay on Skype whenever you are working on the Unity file, so we're not overriding each other's work. All right, thanks.